There's a moment in a man's life when the world doesn't get quieter. He just stops needing the noise. It doesn't happen suddenly. It creeps in like dusk. At first, you notice the silence not outside, but within. The things that used to fire you up, recognition, praise, approval, start sounding hollow. You find yourself no longer reaching for the applause. Not because you don't want it, but because you've finally seen it for what it is. Temporary, transactional, and often manipulated. You used to walk into rooms wondering if people liked you. Now you walk in just to see if you respect yourself afterward. That's the beginning of something most men never talk about. Not because it's rare, though it is, but because it's deeply uncomfortable. You start losing people, not dramatically, no slammed doors or angry farewells. They just fade. One day they're there, the next they've drifted, and you're left wondering, did I change? Or did I finally become someone they couldn't control? You didn't become cold, you became clear. And brother, that's not regression, that's evolution. If this resonates with you, you're not alone. This is what we explore here at True Stoic Way. If you're walking this path, subscribe and walk it with others who understand. You'll feel it in your bones first. That ache of disconnection. The Netflix series that used to distract you now bore you. The parties, the social gatherings, empty echoes of connection. The need to constantly do something fades, replaced by a quiet yearning to simply be. And suddenly, solitude doesn't feel lonely anymore. It feels clean. That's the shift. Not everyone gets there. Most drown it out with dopamine, scrolling, swiping, shopping, shouting into digital voids, pretending that louder means stronger. But you've stopped pretending. And when you do, the pain rushes in. It has to. Every illusion ripped away carries pain. The illusion of being liked. The illusion that success is a number. The illusion that if you just please enough people, they'll protect your heart. Pain is not your enemy here. It's the surgeon. It cuts away the infected parts of your identity, the ones built for applause, not alignment. And yes, it will feel like loss. But don't mistake losing illusions for losing yourself. Seneca said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. But once you see your port, even through fog, you stop fearing the storm." Resistance no longer means you're doing it wrong. It means you're finally doing something that matters. There's this strange clarity that comes when you stop needing everyone to understand you. You don't argue with fools. You don't over-explain yourself to the insecure. You don't chase people who benefit from your weakness. You start choosing discomfort over dishonesty, depth over dopamine, substance over surface. And in that choice, you start becoming untouchable. On this channel, we're not here to be popular. We're here to become powerful in the quietest, strongest way. Hit that subscribe button if you feel that fire rising inside. The truth is, many people love the weaker version of you, the one who needed their approval, the one who asked for permission, the one who stayed small so they could feel big. But when you grow, when you shed the skin of validation, they don't know where to place you anymore. You no longer fit the frame they built for you. That's why they say you've changed. But here's the paradox. They missed the version of you that was suffering in silence, pretending to be fine, bending so they wouldn't break. And now you're choosing your own alignment over their comfort. Good. Let them miss the version of you that never truly lived, because the man you're becoming, he doesn't beg, he builds, he doesn't argue, he acts, he doesn't seek crowds, he walks with conviction, even if it means walking alone. At first, you'll wonder if you've lost your spark, you'll feel empty. But that emptiness is sacred. It's not a void, it's room. Room for clarity, for strength, for standards, for silence that doesn't scream, but speaks. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, do what's right, the rest doesn't matter. And that's the armor you wear now. Not noise, not applause, just quiet alignment with what you know to be true. You no longer react, you reflect. You no longer rush to defend your pride. You protect your peace, you no longer need to explain your silence. Because silence now is your strategy. At True Stoic Way, we teach that stillness is not retreat, it's revolution. Subscribe if you're done being pulled by chaos and ready to rule through calm. You'll see it in your walk. Slower, more grounded. You'll hear it in your voice. Lower, more certain. You'll feel it in your choices. No longer frantic, no longer trying to prove anything. You used to want people to love you. Now you want them to respect your boundaries or leave. And they will leave. Let them. Because the people meant for your path won't require you to shrink to fit. Seneca wrote, associate with those who will make you better. And that's why your circle shrinks. Not because you're pushing people away, but because you're finally choosing elevation. And elevation has altitude. Not everyone can breathe where you're going. Let them stay where the air is easier. You've got mountains to climb. People will say you've become too serious, too distant, too intense. Smile, nod, because you've stopped performing. And when the performance ends, the audience leaves. You no longer chase attention. You attract alignment. You no longer chase bossy closure. You create boundaries. You no longer chase love. You embody value. There's nothing more dangerous to a manipulative world than a man who no longer needs approval to exist. And there's nothing more powerful than a man who has made peace with being misunderstood. If this is the energy you're stepping into, then this channel is your brotherhood. Welcome to True Stoic Way, where clarity replaces confusion and silence becomes your sword. And when chaos comes, and it will, it no longer controls you. You don't flinch, you don't fold, you pause, you breathe, you observe. That's the final sign of transformation. Because when a man is governed by impulse, he's reactive. But when he's ruled by reason, he's dangerous. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So don't react, respond. And sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. Not out of fear, but out of mastery. This path is not glamorous, it's not popular. And it sure as hell isn't easy, but it's real. And at the end of the day, when you lie in bed with your thoughts, the man you're becoming won't need 100 voices praising him. He only needs one voice, the one inside his chest, whispering, we held the line today. You're not walking backward. You're walking through illusions, through loneliness, through the rubble of false identities, and into the still, grounded presence of a man no longer ruled by noise. So if you feel lost, misunderstood, distant from the world, good. That means you're becoming. Because clarity always comes with distance. Mastery always comes with silence. Power always comes from peace. And in this silence, you finally hear your own voice. Not the voice trained to please. Not the voice that flinched when rejected. Not the voice that whispered fears in the dark. No, the real voice. The voice of the man beneath the masks. The voice of the storm that moves in stillness. The voice of the unshakable. That voice has waited years to be heard. Now it speaks. Let the world think what it wants. You don't need their permission. You never did. And if this is the voice you are reclaiming, brother, we walk together. Like, share. Subscribe to True Stoic Way, because power begins in silence, and silence begins now.